what do you need improvement in?
Just want to go through and win.
What is the purpose of overthinking? You're taking care of your loved one. That's how you can increase your sales.
Hello, everybody. This is Ferris.
And this is Caleb Lenore, and welcome to another episode of Conversations with the Homecare Guyz.
Oh, my goodness, man. Today is a great day, brother.
Oh, yeah. We have a great episode for you guys. We're going to talk about how to save a crappy day. Save a crappy day. But before we get into it, Ferris, tell me about your week. Well, we've been together this whole week, so maybe just tell me about your experience. What's up? What's new?
Man, this weekend, last few days was amazing, brother. Of course, as we traveled out to San Antonio, Texas, to be a part of a elite home care mastermind.
Right.
Brother, got so many gems from actually just so many home care providers that are leading throughout the nation, and just got a chance to network with people, brother. I think that was the biggest thing right there, was being able to get around the table and network with people that are trying to go to do something great in this industry as well. Exactly.
I had a great time. That was my first time actually in San Antonio, Texas, and I went with Ferris, our CEO, my brother, and we had a great time. We had, I think one of my memorable experiences besides the conference was going to the Riverwalk. We had a great time. We went to the Riverwalk. San Antonio is beautiful, by the way.
It is.
It's a beautiful city. The people are friendly, and we stayed in the most magnificent hotel. I thought that was like the most beautiful hotel we ever stayed in.
And just like I said, the people are friendly. It's like they call San Antonio this a melting pot because you have so many different cultures out there. They have a really big food culture out there. So if you're a foodie, you definitely want to go through and actually visit San Antonio because your taste buds would not be let down as well.
Well, let's talk about this mastermind. So I know you said one of your biggest takeaways were like just with the networking part. What are some people? Did you meet some new people that you really kind of connected with? Who were some of those people, or you know, what states were they from? How about that?
Man, met quite a few people that actually just had inspiring stories on how they got started, some things that they triumphed over doing COVID-19 to keep their business going, and how they're thriving right now. These are the type of people that when I talk about getting around a table, this is the type of table that I always desire to go through and actually sit at, so that we can go through and lean and glean from their experiences to go through and grow our agency. I've met people from Chicago and people from Florida and people just from all across the United States.
Nebraska.
Yeah, Omaha, Nebraska. Like, these are people that they would not necessarily be in my circle if it was not for us sitting around the same table. But man, how about you, man?
Yeah, I had a great takeaway. I actually went out to dinner with Susan and Bill out of New Jersey. It was amazing dinner. It was a great conversation. We just kind of connected from the conference, and it was just awesome just to see a lot of how these successful people think.
Yes.
And so, you know, everyone had 7-figure home care companies, 7 and 8-figure home care companies. And so just to see their mindset and to have that conversation and dialogue, I thought that was really great, especially while we over bread, you know, taking over dinner. I thought that was amazing. Man.
And I think that's the thing right there, is just like I said, it's so important to get around the table, because what it does is it exposes you to things that you don't know. Right. It actually exposes you to things or other opportunities of things that you may know that you can go through and master as well. And it really just allows a company and us to grow as well. So it was an amazing week, man. Amazing week.
So let me ask you a question. Would you go back to San Antonio to visit?
Most definitely. I've already we did. You missed out on the tour. We did a tour on Friday, Saturday, one of those days, and it was amazing. So I friend the tour guide on Instagram. I already told my wife we're going to be definitely going back out there. And amazing. Oh my gosh, it's San Antonio Pro Tours. His name is Christopher, I think. He does an amazing job. He's a prior comic. He's a comic. He used to do stand up with Kevin Hart as well. Yes.
Wow.
And he had us rolling throughout the tour. And again, we've visited so many different places. It was amazing, man.
Well, that's great. Well, let's dive into our conversation today about how to save a crappy day. And so I want to ask our viewers, have you had a crappy day lately? Or a crappy week? And so I think everyone has crappy weeks, Ferris. And I think that some people think that just because you're successful or you may be wealthy or so, they don't never have crappy days, but everyone faces a crappy day.
Correct.
And so I want to say, Ferris, like, what has been ways that you have just pretty much kind of, once you had a moment or a crappy day, like how have you got over that day or that experience?
I think it's so important William Ernest Henley says, I'm the master of my own fate. I'm the captain of my own ship. I think it's so important. That's the mindset I have. Even when I encounter crappy moments or crappy days, it's like, do I still stay in the moment forever?
Right.
Or do I kind of guide myself out to go through and say, I'm out of this thing. Let me go ahead and get out this moment, because just like I said, everyone goes through and deal with crappy moments. Everyone goes through and have crappy days. But how I do it, I consciously make an effort to go through and say, this is only going to be a moment. This is not going to be something I'm going to dwell on for time after time after time, because I see the times when I dwell on things, what it does is just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper.
Oh yeah, you then you get depressed and you get anxiety.
Yeah,
you stress. And so I caught what you said. You really called it. You really say really it's a moment. So instead of like a day, like a day has time.
Correct.
And so it's like, it's not necessarily saying you have a crappy day, but you have a crappy moment. Or in this moment right here, this moment may be 5 minutes out of my day that I don't feel good. And so I think sometimes whenever I have crappy moments or so, I don't try to let it ruin my day. But it is kind of difficult, especially when you start telling yourself stories about, well, you really start playing yourself. Like, if you had a crappy a moment, you start to say, well, this person will respond this way, and this is your response, and this is their response, and that's their response. And then you go into the whole day, and now it's 3 hours, 4 hours out of your day, and that's how it becomes a day instead of a moment. But some questions that I ask myself is, what is throwing me off kilter? What is the why? Why do I don't feel like 100? Like, why don't I feel like my best self? Also, I can always say this, Fairs, because if I don't eat breakfast, that makes me look a little anxious, or it makes me a little irritated as well. And so, did I eat a proper breakfast? Did I eat lunch? I know us Flanoras, we can go throughout breakfast and lunch throughout the whole day and not eat, and then pretty much at the end of the day, we're all on a different level. But you want to ask yourself some of those questions, like, am I eating a balanced diet? Am I getting enough sleep? Am I drinking water? Am I consuming all caffeine and sugars? Like, all these things will affect your day.
Yeah. And I think it's so important. That's being self-aware,
right?
Being self-aware, knowing what actually triggers the crappy day, crappy moments, and being able to go through and control it. Because again, there's some things we'll talk about a little bit later, internal and external controls that may happen. Right. But if you know yourself, if you're really self-aware, you're able to go through and say, hey, I know if I don't eat, I'm going to get hangry. I know if I
hangry, huh?
Yeah. That's what my wife calls it.
Hangry.
Exactly.
Yeah, angry, yeah.
And so I know if I don't do certain things, if I know if I don't prepare for something and I have to present, if it doesn't go right, I'm gonna get angry. So or have a crappy day. So I think it's so important to be self-aware, to go through and say, hey, what are the things I can control? And if I can't control them, I'm going to control them to the point where I know this won't be a trigger for me to have a crappy day.
Do you have a family member that you're living in the home with that you're providing full-time care for? You do? Hi, my name is Rashonda Butts, and I'm one of the health coaches here at Prime Care Home Care. For that family member, you may be able to receive expert health coaching from myself and possibly a weekly stipend. That's right, you heard it, possibly a weekly stipend. There's some qualifications, but I don't mind sharing them with you. If you would give me a call at 478-387-8419, I'll be glad to explain everything to you. Give me a call and come join the team.
Well, as we dive into affairs, I think some of the things that we can control, let's talk about those two external and internal stimuli, what the environments that we place in. So let's talk about the internal. The internal is something that we can control.
Exactly.
And so as we talk about a crappy day, we got to think about, what are you saying? What are you telling yourself? What has you told yourself? How do you feel? What are you thinking about yourself? All these, what are your thoughts that you're constantly thinking about yourself? Do you have high self-esteem? Do you have low self-esteem? What are your assumptions? So all these things affect your day. And the more that you tell yourself this story, well, I'm not good looking, or I'm not attractive, or I'm not smart, or this would not work, or my family hates me, all these things you're going to tell, is going to create more and more fabricated stories in your mind that's really going to allow you to have an extended period of being low, and that affects your day.
Yeah. And one thing I look at it is kind of think about what is the foundation of that crappy day? What's the foundation of that moment? Because just like you said, a lot of internal factors can come into play. We have external things that we cannot control, but how we internalize it, that's what we can control. Do we go through and give it weight? Do we go through and put it down to stand on that foundation? Or do we go through and kind of cast those thoughts and say, you know what, nah, this is just a moment. I'm over it. Let's keep rocking and rolling. I think internally, just like you said, we have control over how and what we tell ourselves.
Right.
And I think I know it takes a discipline. It doesn't happen overnight because we're so structured, or we're so fashioned to go through and let what people say put weight on us, instead of just saying, okay, well, no, this person, I really don't know you, so it doesn't matter what you say. This person, I love you, but you know what? We may have different opinions, so I respect you, and I have mine of my own self as well.
Right.
I think the whole internal factor is really taking control of your own life and taking control of your own thoughts, to go through and say, I'm not going to go through and actually allow something that you said or something I'm thinking about allow me to go through and go down a crappy day or a crappy moment as well.
And we know that's hard. We
very hard.
know that's hard. Like, it's so easily said than done, because once you really be in the driver's seat of your emotions, you're going to constantly think that we have 24 hours in a day.
Yep.
And I don't know how many seconds. It's probably 36,000 something, whatever it is. But you have all this time in the day. And so you mean to tell me, like, a thought is never going to come in your mind? It will. And so it's difficult, but you have to really change your thought, and you have to make a decision, a conscious decision, that I'm not going to let this affect my day.
Exactly.
I'm not going to go another minute. I'm not going to, or give yourself a time block. Like, if you start at 12 o'clock, okay, I'm going to give myself 12:30. After 12:30 and 1 or 12:31, I am not going to be thinking about this. It's going to be done. It's going to be over with. And so you have to really give yourself a time block and say, I'm moving on from this, so it won't ruin my day.
When you were saying that, I'm thinking about a lot of stuff, a lot of warfare go between the 2 ears, because right here in the mind, a lot of turmoil, a lot of fights are won, a lot of fights are lost right between the mind. And I think what we internalize, again, that's something we can control. That's something we truly can control. We can go through and actually control our thoughts. And how do we control them? This is how we control, like we're going to be talking about external environments, but external things can control it, because now it's what I'm listening to. Yeah. Who am I around? Who's talking in my ear to go through and encourage me? Who's talking in my ear of those things of faith, those things that are going to go through and win, allow me to win? Yes. I think some of those things right there, though we have external environmental circumstances that can go through and do the opposite, we have to go through and start feeding ourselves during those moments when we're internalizing things of something that can go through and help us win in those situations as well. Exactly.
Is there like something that you do in the morning, like every morning, to really kind of make it like something that kind of leads you into like a more fruitful, a positive day? Do you do something like on a routine?
Every morning I am listening to a podcast or something uplifting. Okay. I really don't listen to I don't listen to music that often.
So you don't start your day with Cardi B?
I very rarely I don't know a Cardi B song, but I don't listen to a lot of music in the morning unless it's maybe spiritual, something that's uplifting. But that's very rare to that as well. I'm more so a podcast, and more so a sermonette or something that's spiritual as well. Right. That's going to go through and feed me, because I realize that that's one of my most vulnerable moments of my day is in the morning time.
Yes.
How what I take in is what's going to be the trajectory of my day. Mm-hmm. If I'm taking in BS, I'm gonna have a BS type day. If I'm taking that good knowledge, something that's going to give me a tool to reflect on when something external happened to me, or something comes my way that's externally, I have something to reflect on, remembering something that I heard that morning. So that's one of my things. Anything that you do?
Well, yes. Well, I end up like every morning. I love Joyce Meyer. Mm-hmm. I'm a Joyce Meyer fan. Mm-hmm. If you know me, listen, I'm Team Joyce. And so every morning I take a few moments, especially when I'm driving to Milledgeville. Mm-hmm. I definitely put on Joyce Meyer. I put on something inspirational, something that's going to encourage me, and someone that's going to give it to me bluntly. Mm-hmm. Somebody going to give it to me straight. Mm-hmm. So that's what I do on a morning basis. I try to do more meditation. Mm-hmm. I try to at least meditate at least 5 to 10 minutes before I get out of bed. Mm-hmm. That's just self-care for myself, and that's going to breed positivity. And so they have all types of stuff on YouTube, like about chakra alignment, that you can align your chakras and stuff like that with your meditation. And so that's what I typically do. But as we talk about external things, I want us to also what affects us to have a more positive day, or to stop us from having a crappy day, is our external environment. Like you said, Ferris, is our home clean? Let's start off with talking about some of the basics. Is our car clean? Are we properly hygiene? Like, did we take a shower? Did we take a nice warm bath or whatever? And all of those things affect us on a day-to-day basis. And so some of those things that we feel that are like the smallest things, those can really drive us into having a great day or having a bad day.
Exactly. One thing that I do, especially when I'm traveling out of town, I always, because I know, first of all, my wife has a lot on her shoulders, especially when I'm out of town, having to go and be with the children and all the other stuff like that. So one thing I consciously do is I consciously go through and make sure her environment is actually taken care of. So if that means cleaning up the kitchen, the living room, the laundry room, the photos, whatever I have to do, I go through and do that during the time frames when I know that her external environment is going to go through and actually shape the way that she sees the day, because she may get overwhelmed in things that I may not be overwhelmed in. Right. But that's one thing I realized, that in order for us to have peace, my wife and I, is my responsibility as well to go through and make sure those external environments are taken care of. Right. So I did that. I said that to say this is so.
It seems like that's proactive. Like, you're really being proactive with making sure that everybody have a great day.
Yeah, and because I realize that if my wife has a bad day, and if you're married, if your wife has a bad day, you're gonna have a bad day. And so that's one thing is, I know
don't have a bad day.
I know that I have to remain focused when I'm doing what I have to do. So I realize that sometimes it may take a little sacrifice. So I may not go to sleep as early as I would normally if I'm traveling out of town, so that I can take care of the responsibilities that I need to go through and take care. And I learned that from from Steve, one of our health coach, not health coach, our mentor in the healthcare field. Right. Just being able to take care of those things, kind of check those boxes off early, so that you can be focused as well.
Yeah, that's great. And then last but not least, we talked about the internal and the external, but definitely who you hang around.
Oh my goodness.
Who you hang around will affect your day as well. And so, like, if you hang around, if you're going to lunch with some negative talking, negative minded people, that's always negative, everything is bad, and did you hear this? And this person died, and this person's going to do this and that. And then if you go to dinner with someone else that's impatient, so you're going to breed some of those things. You're going to be a negative and impatient person. And so that's how your day could be crappy. And so it's so ironic that if you could just even change some of those people and say, I'm going to go around and I want to attract someone that has patience. I want to attract someone that thinks positive or thinks positive thoughts. Those are the people that you want to be around. Those are the people that you want to take to breakfast or lunch or dinner and associate with, because they have something that you have. And so just changing that environment, those 5 people, 5 to 10 people that you're constantly around could definitely impact your day in the better.
Most definitely. And one thing I see when they say, I can tell who a person is when that person talks. I can tell who in their circle. Ooh. I can tell the intelligence. I can tell it's a lot. It's a lot to go through and see, okay, well, hey, what is going on with this person? And you can tell when a driven person is in a circle with people that are not driven as well. You could tell, because what they do is play themselves lower. Their expectations are lower. They start to assimilate and do things that other individuals do that's outside their character. These are the things right here. These are the external factors that individuals, you have to go through and be very, very, very cautious of, because especially if you want to save yourself from a crappy day, crappy life, you have to really go through and evaluate, okay, yes, house, yes, but that circle is so important, because if not, that circle will be the same circle that you're going to reflect on internally as well, to go through and say, okay, well, because you're going to start speaking like your circle. Like, regardless of how much you invest in yourself or whatever you do, you start speaking like the circle that you're around. Yes. And these are the things that I feel like we all have to be cautious of when it comes to our life, because one thing is, it's okay to have a crappy moment. It's okay to have a crappy day, but when you have a crappy life, now that's hell.
Oh my goodness. And one thing I want to conclude with this, Ferris, I think that especially some causes of crappy days are people needing that validation or feeling that they need to be validated by others. And sometimes you're not going to get that. And so that can affect your day. And so I don't want, especially if you're that person that probably need words of affirmation. And so, you want to master that because that's something you have to tell yourself. You have to say, I value myself. I love myself. I am doing a good job. Pat your own self on the back. And so sometimes we look for that for others, and you won't ever get that from others, not consistently. And so I want you to say, you know what, pat your own self on the back and give yourself words of affirmation.
Exactly.
And because your day or your moment, remember, it's only a moment. All time is space.
Yep.
That's what time is. Time is space. It's just plenty moments. It's plenty opportunities. And so I don't want you to have a moment, like you said, Ferris, a life.
Oh, man.
A life of a bad life. No, these are moments. Figure out these moments, put them in time slots, and say, you know what, I'm going to maybe feel this way at this moment, but the next moment I'm going to feel good. I'm going to change my perspective, and I'm going to give my own self-validation.
That's powerful. That's powerful. Well, Caleb, I think this was an amazing conversation, and we hope that you took something away that will go through and actually save you from having a crappy moment, day, and life as well.
Yeah.
And these are the tools that, again, that we're working on. Like I always like to tell everybody, it's not like we're operating in perfection. The conversations that we're having, we're students of life. We're students of the game as well. So we desire to go through and get better as well. So again, this conversation should be able to go through and save you a few moments and give you the tools on how to go through and operate if you encounter a crappy, when you encounter a crappy day. So that's where we are right now. So Caleb, go through and tell them how they can tune in and everything.
Well, definitely. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I want you to right now subscribe. We're still trying to get our YouTube subscribers up. So go to YouTube, type in Conversations with the Homecare Guyz, and definitely hit that subscribe button. We do videos every Tuesdays and Thursdays, so we're super excited about that. Also follow us on our social media. I'm Caleb at Caleb Homecare CEO.
Mr. Homecare COO.
Ferris Homecare COO, right?
Yeah,
Mr. Homecare COO. And definitely follow us on social media, Conversation with the Homecare Guyz on Facebook as well as Instagram. So we're excited about that, and we hope that you enjoyed this episode.
Exactly. Well, guys, go ahead and tune in. Go through and tell someone else about this podcast. We are on the growth. We're getting ready to do some amazing interviews. So make sure you're tuning in each Thursday for some really high-level entrepreneurs and people that are leading the community to go through and hear their story as well. A lot of them, some of them will be in the healthcare field. Others may not be, but I guarantee you'll be inspired by their story so that you can go through and actually live your best life as well. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see y'all next time.
Stay safe.